Shalom Aleichem, everybody. This week is Parshat Emor, and we find ourselves in the middle of the period of the HaOmer, and the Parsha itself, Parshat Emor, fortuitously also deals and contains the mitzvah of HaOmer. When it comes to the mitzvah of HaOmer, we count days, we count weeks. The Rambam in Hilchos Tmidim Musafim, Perek Gimel, Halacha Yud Aleph, also found in the Moreh Nevuchim, the Sefer HaChinuch in Mitzvah Shin Vav, indicate that even Bizman Hazeh, when we do not have a Korban HaOmer, Sfiras HaOmer is a mitzvah d'oraisa. And perhaps nothing to do with the Korban itself. We don't have a Korban, it's still d'oraisa because the essence of what Sfiras HaOmer is all about, the Rambam and the Sefer HaChinuch say this explicitly, is to bridge Pesach and Shavuot. Is to go ahead and link, on the one hand, Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the Sefer HaChinuch writes very beautifully that Yetzias Mitzrayim is not the end all; it's the beginning of a process. And indeed, if Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, and that was it, it would not be Dayenu, because it's climaxing, it's building up towards Kabbalas HaTorah. It's a process, a countdown, getting ourselves ready for Kabbalas HaTorah. Indeed, that's what the Ramban writes in this week's Parsha, Parshat Emor, that the period of Sfiras HaOmer is Kecholo Shel Moed. It's a period of Chol HaMoed, bridging the Yontif of Pesach and the Yontif of Chag HaShavuos, what Chazal referred to as Chag HaAtzeres. Just like Sukkot in the Tishrei part of the calendar has Yontif, Chol HaMoed, and then Atzeres, Shmini Atzeres. So in the Nisan part of the calendar, we have the same exact phenomena. You have a Yontif, and then a period of time in the middle, the Sfiras HaOmer, Kecholo Shel Moed, climaxing with Chag HaAtzeres, a one-day Chag, Chag HaShavuos. And indeed, the essence of these days, and the Farshim write, is to get ourselves ready for Kabbalas HaTorah, really working on our Talmud Torah, working on refining ourselves in that sense, Kabbalas HaTorah. That's the Avodah of the day. But then on the other hand, you have during this period of time the Avelus for the 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva. And this is also a sad period of time, and this dichotomy, on the one hand, Kecholo Shel Moed, where we work on ourselves, building ourselves up to Matan Torah. On the other hand, we go ahead and we lament, we mourn the death of the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva. And why did they die? The Gemara Yevamos tells us, Shelo nohagu kavod ze bazeh. They did not act with kavod to each other. Striking. These are the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva, Gaonei Olam, the Talmidim of one of the greatest Tanaim that we have, perhaps the greatest Tana that we have. And they were lo nohagu kavod ze bazeh. Rav Hirsch points out very beautifully, it's not the pshat that they trampled on each other, they cursed each other, chas v'shalom. The word kavod comes from the word kaved, heavy. They didn't treat each other with a certain sense. They treated everyone as lightweights, if you will. They didn't treat everyone with the heaviness, the gravitas that a person deserves. And therefore, they were punished. On their level, they were punished, and that's something for us to learn as well. And therefore, during this period of Sfiras HaOmer, we also work on our Ben Adam Lechavero. No coincidence that Chazal said this is not a time to get married, because if you want to really appreciate what marriage is all about, the ultimate relationship in Adam Lechavero, you have to understand this idea of treating every single person with kvedut, understanding their worth, their value, their weightiness, their gravitas. And in a real sense, you have these two poles that come together during these 49 days. On the one hand, the pole of working on ourselves for Kabbalas HaTorah, enhancing our Limud HaTorah so we can properly accept the Torah's Hashem. On the other hand, Midos, Ben Adam Lechavero, the death of the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva, focus us on treating each and every person with that sense of kvedut. And indeed, something to think about, because in our community, especially the Orthodox community, you have different aspects of the Orthodox community. And in our community, you have certain sectors of the community that are very, very focused on Ben Adam Lamakom, on Tefillah, and on Talmud Torah, and that is the core direction. And sometimes when you're focused in just one direction, perhaps the Ben Adam Lechavero is secondary, is not as primary in terms of the avoda. You have other communities that they excel in the Ben Adam Lechavero, tolerant of everyone, tikkun olam, but perhaps not taking Talmud Torah Tefillah as seriously. The message of this period of time is to have a true sense of Kabbalas HaTorah, to truly tap into that sense of Sfiras HaOmer, is to treat every single person with kvedut and understand that we have to intensify ourselves in our Talmud Torah, but at the same time have a tremendous amount of respect even for different hashkafos, people with different values, with a different approach to life, a tremendous sense of understanding the kvedut of every single person, of every single Jew, and of every single person. That's what this time is all about. Klal Yisrael were taken out of Mitzrayim as Yud Beis Shvatim. And Rav Breitowitz likes to say that when you have a salad is comprised of different vegetables with different tastes and different colors. And when you have that orange of the carrot and the green of the cucumber and that bright red of the pepper, and you have all those colors mixed together, what emerges is not only something that is very pleasant to the palate, but something that's also pleasant to one's eyes. There's a certain appeal to it. And that's really what Knesset Yisrael is about. There are different drachim, different approaches. Understand each one warrants our respect, each one warrants our vision of them as having kvedut, as having value, as having worth, as having gravitas. There's a beautiful pasuk in Mishlei, where Shlomo HaMelech says, it's found in Mishlei, Perek Chav Zayin pasuk Yutes, Kamayim hapanim lepanim, Kain leiv ha'adam la'adam. Just like when a person looks at a body of water, he looks in the body of water and what gets reflected back at him? His face. Exactly how he appears is how the water reflects his face back. So when a person looks at a body of water with a big smile, so it reflects back is a big smile. That's kemayim hapanim lepanim, kain leiv ha'adam la'adam. So too when we go ahead and approach our colleagues, even if they're hashkafically different from us, they have a different approach to life, but you approach them with a smile, they're going to smile back. You approach them with a frown, with a look of degradation, of lack of respect, very unlikely that they're going to respect you either. They reflect back what you reflect to them. And as such, you look in Eretz Yisrael, we, for example, live in a very, very polarized community, polarized society, and everyone has very, very stark shitas. A lot of people are Bale Shita over here. In America, it's a little more tolerant, a little more live and let live. And one of the challenges of Sinas Kinam that we have, the reason the Beis HaMikdash is not yet rebuilt, is perhaps because we don't fully appreciate and value our friends. And when there's an issue, and I have a different hashkafa, and you have a different hashkafa, but what are you reflecting? If you're reflecting a smile, then that smile is going to come back. If you're reflecting a frown, an insult, something negative, then that's what's going to come back. And we have to really work on ourselves. We're going to have that sense of Kabbalas HaTorah to understand that we're all part of the same team. Ki ish echad b'lev echad. And you want to have that true sense of Kabbalas HaTorah. We work in both areas, ben adam ha'makom and ben adam l'chavero. But no matter our differences, learn the lesson of that placid lake. When you smile at it, it smiles right back. Show your colleague, and even someone who's not your colleague, that smile, you'll get the smile back. You show a look of disdain, a frown, that's what you're going to get back. And that's part of the fundamental avoda that we have during this period of Sfiras HaOmer.